Well, hello there. I'm on the way out again. Another little adventure. This one's a bit different. I'm starting in Princetown, and it's taken me not one, not two, but 3 buses to get here from Ivybridge, where I left the car. So the plan is for a little walk, 7 or 8 miles to Red Lake, camp there for the night, and then do the last bit back to Ivybridge and the car, which is parked at the station, tomorrow. So, you know, two reasonable walks. I guess it could be done in one day, really, but it's gone 2 o'clock now. It's taken me a while to get here. I'm exhausted, actually. I've seen bits of Ivybridge in Plymouth I didn't even know existed, but there we are. It's all part of life's rich tapestry. Anyway, I'm just about to set off from Princetown, past the Plume of Feathers, along the track along there, out into the moor. I'll show you a bit more later. This is where the moor really starts, the gate just behind the pub. Been along here a few times, walking and cycling, I think, and coming down this way. Quite a nice little track. Should be up to North Hessery Tor fairly soon. There's North Hessery Tor. I'm not one of the biggest. I think it's quite impressive, and it stands on an otherwise fairly blank piece of moorland, so it kind of punches above its weight, I think. A good place for a picnic, but not today. There are lots of small foals on the moor at the moment. This is one of the prettier ones. There's a major way marker here. It's marking this path here that goes down towards Burratall Reservoir, with Sheep's Tor in the background. This is one that Deanne and I have ridden up on our bikes, fairly steep in parts and fairly bumpy as I recall, but it's not for today. We're going to carry on this nice gravel path for a bit longer. Just approaching Nuns Cross now. There's a choice of route to be made here. We can either carry on this nice gravel path up the slight hill, or we can turn left and take the less distinct path that goes past Nuns farmhouse, and that's the way I'm intending to go today. Okay, this is the path I'm on. It's pretty good here. Looks like there's a river crossing not too far ahead though. This part of the route is the Abbot's Way, which I think was used by the monks going from Buckfast Abbey up to Bryn Tor or some such. Not many monks around today. But there we are. Pleasant enough walk though. A great deal worse. It has been very dry on the moor for the last couple of months. We were up here 2 weeks ago and it was bone dry then. It has rained a little bit since then, but by Dartmoor standards it's still pretty dry. Expecting a bit of a right turn somewhere soon. I've just crossed a bit of open moorland. I'm not sure what happened to the Abbot's Way. According to the GPS, I wasn't very far off it, but for the last mile or so I haven't seen much of it. But I think I have now met the path coming in as though I'd gone in the other direction. And that kind of heads off in an easterly direction across the moor here. I'll take back what I said about it being dry. It's a touch on the boggy side. Yeah. Anyway, all good. This area is marked on the map as pits. I'm not sure what sort of pits they were. It certainly looks man-made rather than natural. And this is the very, very top of the River just a tiny trickle in the bottom of the valley there. There's a ford marked on the map, but it hardly warrants one really. I think it's just a step over, but we will see. Actually got a slight semblance of a path, which is a distinct improvement over the open moorland I have been walking on for a little bit. Let's hope it's the right one. It's like it's in the right direction. The more serious crossing, this one, but it's not in spate. I can probably tickle my way through this bit without getting too wet. There's some stepping stones on the other side. Perfect. This one is Red Lake Ford. In Dartmoor speak, a lake isn't a lake, it's a stream. And I guess this proves it. We're going over down there. Oh yeah. Okay, here we are up at Red Lake. Red Lake Works. That's known as the Dartmoor Pyramid. Some kind of spoil heap. There's one of the lakes up here. There's another one round the corner. I can't see if there's some flat ground dead in front where I could pitch, but I think I'll have a look round the corner, see what else I can find. Right, here's home for the night. Pitched up by the path. I can't think anyone's going to go past while I'm here. And I'm close to the other lake. There's a lot of flat ground around this one, but it's all a bit boggy. So I opted for the slightly drier ground. Where we're looking now is pretty much due east. So if we're going to get a sunrise in the morning, that's where we're going to be seeing it from. So fingers crossed. The weather forecast is brighter tomorrow than it is today, but hasn't been too bad. Anyway, I'm going to get a brew on. I'll bring you back later. So here's the room with the view. A little bit of blue in the sky. It's not quite the clear blue sky and sun that the forecast from yesterday suggested, but I think it's an improvement on yesterday nevertheless. It's 6:30, just had my first brew of the day. I intend to get up and gone fairly soon, as soon as I've had my breakfast and packed up, but not a bad start. Right, 7:30. All packed up, starting to head back. This is the very top of the old railway track that went from Red Lake Works down to the factory just outside Ivybridge. I should be following that most of the way down, so it should be very simple route finding today. Puffing Billy track. I'm sure there'll be a bit of huffing and puffing, but should be mostly downhill. I'm about halfway down the Puffing Billy track now. Pretty much following the contours, so pretty flat. Fairly tedious really, but it's a quick way of covering the miles. Starting to open up down the valley. There's one of the little copses. It's one of the rainforest areas on Dartmoor. Looking down towards Ivybridge, although I can't see it. And it looks like we've got a slight uphill. I guess it goes round the beacon. I can just see the trail. Round the next hillock and then down to Ivybridge. This is where the Puffing Billy track and the Two Moors Way part company. That's Puffing Billy going down towards the factory. That's the Two Moors Way going down towards Ivybridge. Looking back to where we've come, you can just about see the path snaking up the hillside, or going up the hillside. We've been thinking about doing this on our bikes for a while. I have to say, I think it's probably a much better bike ride than it is a walk. These stones are not doing my feet any good at all. But there we are, it's nearly done now. So, onward to Ivybridge. Right, here we are then. Back at the edge of the moor. This is the last bit of bridle path down towards Ivybridge. There we are. Last time we came down here it was completely covered in leaves. It must have been autumn. But there we are, at least we can see where we're going today. I realised when I sat down to edit these video clips that I'd neglected to film any kind of wrap-up session at the end. So I thought I'd share a few thoughts with you now. Overall I was fairly pleased with the way this little trip went. The plan to leave the car at Ivybridge, take the buses up to Princetown and walk back with a night staying at the Red Lake Works en route worked pretty well. If I were to do it again, the only thing I think that I'd change would be that I would think harder about where to go from Nuns Cross, and I'd probably elect this time to go straight on and with the hope of finding a more obvious path than turn left and do the open moorland crossing that I did this time, but there we are. All the gear that I used worked really well. Temp was fine, albeit that the conditions were fairly benign. Bit of condensation, but that's just one of those things. All the food worked well, and carrying my bag that distance was not a major problem. It weighed about 12 kilos. 2 kilos of that was water. I realised that if you can, it makes a lot more sense to to find water on the hill rather than carry it all with you from the start. But there we are. The water on Dartmoor can be a bit brown and peaty for my taste, but I'm sure there is lots of good water out there if only you can find it. Anyway, if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I'll try and make another one next time I go out. Bye for now.